once again, I am back, prepared to do a bedroom mural for one of my kids' bedrooms using only paint that I have left over. So we did the mountains and dinosaurs in one of my son's bedrooms, and now we're going to do a hill with a castle here in my daughter's bedroom. I can already tell this is going to be more difficult than just 4 colors and silhouettes, but let's see. She wanted it, so let's try it. To be more specific, she wants a pink and blue castle with the little blue truck, not a little blue truck, the very famous little blue truck, and his good friend Toad driving up the mountain to the castle. So as you can see here, we had a little patchwork that I had to do. So I was trying to draw the design around that so I wouldn't have to do a base coat of the wall color, but ultimately it didn't work. And then after the outline was done, my daughter decided she wanted the light switch plate and the fan plate also painted over because I did that in my son's room. So I totally had to redo the whole thing, but not a big deal. Since I'm reusing paints that I had from other projects, I am again using Garden Gate from Sherwin-Williams as the base layer to this mountain. I am going to go over it later on in the video. You'll see it with green onyx, also from Sherwin-Williams. These are colors that are now all throughout my house because I just don't like waste. But this is a really good base coat, and then I'll go over it with a lighter green to make it look more springy. I'm using a roller, but it's like one of those sponge rollers, so the texture is definitely a little not smooth, but it kind of looks good for this. Like, it's a mountain. We want it to have like some sort of terrain. So I'm using it for that just to make it go a little bit quicker, and then using a nice brush in between the areas where the roller won't fit, and just making sure those edges are nice and crisp is the most important thing. This bottom half is going to be covered by the bed, so I'm not too terribly worried about that, but I do just want to make sure there's a nice base coat there. Next, I'm chalking out the castle. I just thought it was easier. I had to keep redoing the original outline, like I said. So now I just did the mountain, and then I was like, you know what? Let me figure out the castle when I get there. So since I had to redo the terrain to cover the light switches and all that, I decided we're gonna have two guard towers, on the flanks of the castle, and we'll have the little blue truck driving up to one of the guard towers, and the other guard tower is just there because I had to paint over the light switches. For the white, I'm just using a quart of basic white for trim and doors from Glidden. I don't even remember what we used this on, but I had it in my craft room, not even where the rest of the paint was, but I had it for some reason, and it's perfect for this. I'm using a paintbrush that is like the perfect width of the towers for the castle, so I just have to do like 1 or 2 downstrokes and upstrokes. I'm obviously doing a couple coats, but just makes it easier. It is coming along for sure. That might be the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was supposed to be a guard tower, but you know, you just can't fight the geography of the land, the topography. You just can't. So I lied. I actually only needed 1 coat. I mean, I did like 2 coats, but before the first coat dried, if that makes sense, of the white. And it's just fine because I'm going to have so many things covering it that it's fine. But now for all of the colorful adornments that this castle is going to have, the pink and the blue, and then plus the flowers, all that stuff, I'm just using craft acrylic paint. It works fine. I'm sure people will tell me in the comments if this was a really terrible idea, but it worked really good for me. I did have to do 2 coats and let everything completely dry in between the 2 coats, but worked totally fine. A really thin brush. Honestly, paint markers would have worked best for this, but too late now. It's done. All right, so this is where we are for today. This took me, what time is it? About an hour and a half. But we have dinner to get to, and if I'll just get lost in the details, but I'll definitely be able to finish this tomorrow. Let's see if you can see everything. Yeah, I want to make some real green on the grass, make it pop. Gotta do the pathway, have to draw a little blue truck, but we're looking good. We are looking dandy. All right, see you tomorrow. Good morning, day 2, really risking it here, not even putting on paint clothes. So first things first, I did the second coat of the pink and the blue. That was pretty quick, I didn't even really record it. Secondly, I'm adding this silver gray metallic paint to create the outline of all the different towers and shapes within the castle. Initially, I tried to blend them with a wider brush, but it wasn't working. So I just stopped doing that and would just go over everything as it was drying with the paintbrush again. Like, I didn't add any paints to the little paintbrush that I'm using, and I would just drag up and down the wet lines. I hope that makes sense. Just rewatch what I'm doing. But that gave it the best blend because I didn't want it to look like they were just silver pinstripes on the castle. I wanted it to look blended, a gradient, a nice shadow as you would see organically in a real life castle. Every once in a while taking a step back just to look at it from a different vantage point to make sure I'm not making things too crooked or too sideways and that it's all aligned with the natural lines of the wall. Next is the shading. I was worried about this. I was really afraid I was going to ruin the entire thing or just have to paint over it. But I ultimately decided that all of the top of the turrets, I think I'm using that terminology correctly, should have some shading or an outline. Just with my graphic design background, I always think everything looks a little more finished with an outline or a border of sorts. So I'm just taking the pink and the blue acrylic paint that I was using and mixing a little bit of brown in it. Then I'm taking the darker shade and just on all the left sides, doing a wider border and extending it across the bottom and really coming in from like the bottom left triangles more up. This is kind of hard to explain, but that's what I'm doing there. And then still giving it a border on the right side, but nowhere near as defined. And you really start to see the shading and the coloring taking place. Next, for the windows, I'm just doing a black Posca marker just to outline the windows and this clock that I'm doing. My daughter loves clocks, loves a grandfather clock. But this is just for the outline. I'm going to paint in with black acrylic paint. I just, the way the paintbrush moves, I didn't want to do the whole shape. There'd be too many wisps and stray lines. So just a nice outline with a nice, easy, sharp marker, and then coloring it in with the standard paintbrush. Next, I'm adding in some adornments with a gold paint marker from Dollar Tree. This is one of my favorite markers. I use it on a lot of projects. It's really good, and it was probably $1 when I got it, but probably still only $1.25 to $1.50 now. But I'm outlining the door with it, the clock, these little flags. It works so perfectly. Highly recommend this marker. Then I decided to take the gold and put it underneath all of the triangle pieces just to give it some more dimension, and I was afraid it was going to ruin it, but I actually loved it. And yeah, I just can never leave well enough alone. So in this case, it worked out, but it really is adding some more depth into it and just giving it more detail, making it look a little bit more lifelike. Now we are using green onyx. I used this in my last mural as well. There's such a little amount of this left, so I didn't want to do the whole base in that color. That's why I'm only doing the top coat with this color. But if you have enough paint, you can easily do 2 coats of this and this could be your only mountain. But I didn't have that luxury. So I'm just going over this with a brush. I'm not using a roller for this one because I do want it to have some texture to it, because I do want it to look like an actual garden, meadow, mountain type thing. But ultimately, it totally worked out. Just making sure those lines on top are crisp and clean, and of course having to go over the light switch again, because my daughter was very clear. Those had to be painted. We are back, Old Faithful. I lost track of how many projects I've used this thing on, but I cannot get rid of this can of paint, and that's fine because it's perfect. We're back with more canvas. I have used this for so many projects. If you followed me for any amount of time, you know that all I've been doing is trying to do this. I bought it to do the table. I've done the table. I've done bookshelves. I've done my son's wall. And now, Old Faithful here is going on my daughter's wall. So I already have 2 other projects in mind for this because it's just the gift that keeps on giving. I guess I did not record this. I thought I did, but the prairie dust was used to make the path leading up to the castle. Now it's time for all the details. What's hysterical about this footage is that I totally thought I was out of the way of the camera, so my apologies, but I am finally painting the very coveted little blue truck. I outlined it with a white paint marker from Dollar Tree, another really high quality item. I always get it when I'm in there, when I'm running low. It's a great, I have a couple of them on hand actually. But I'm just doing a base image off Google and just using craft acrylic paints that I had on hand. It was tricky just because of the small brush. I don't have good quality brushes because I don't paint a lot. But while I am waiting for the blue to dry, I'm just taking a brush and just making wisping triangle motions to create these evergreen trees in the green onyx. I just like adding little whimsical touches into blank spaces. Again, sorry for blocking the camera, but I'm just taking some lime green acrylic craft paint and just making little sprouts of flowers and leaves in the grass, some nice curb appeal for the castle, and I'm going to add flowers on top of those also with just standard craft acrylic paint. Here we are. So I just finished the little blue truck and even added Toad because my son so nicely reminded my daughter that Toad has to be driving the little blue truck. So I just added that and I thought my camera was recording and it wasn't. But I'm done. I love it. I love it so much. Had another recording mishap and did not record me painting Toad or any of the silver adornments of the little blue truck, but I just used a silver paint marker from a more high-end brand. I forgot what it was, but it was from Michael's. And that totally did the trick on the wheels, on the handle, all that stuff. It was great. But we are done. Even if I see something now, I'm not fixing it. I am done. Obviously I have to paint the trim and clean that up, but that's a project for another day. Nap time is around the corner, so we have to get this done. I'm just adding the final flag right up here, again with that gold paint marker from Dollar Tree, and we are complete. Castle Katie is ready to go. I do need to paint the trim very badly, because originally I was going to go onto the door like I did for my son's room, but I wish nothing that's happening. So I'm gonna have to, I'll patch that up. But I plan on doing the trim in the hallway at a later time, so I'll just fix it all then. But this is it. Remember, the bed is going to cover that, so don't worry about that. This is her. Oh, I love it. Big fan. I know it's my own work, but I'm a big fan. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please like, comment, share, send to a friend, subscribe. Every little interaction really helps with engagement and helps a small channel like mine grow. Obviously, this is not perfect, but I don't want it to be perfect. I made it for my daughter. It is one of a kind, uniquely hers, unique to her room, and I'm so happy. She loves it. I love it. Everyone's happy. You could do this. It really is just a matter of drawing basic shapes. Give it a go, and if you don't like it and yours comes out bad, you can always paint over it. That's the beauty of paint. Enjoy the rest of this video, and again, thank you so much for watching.